learning, listening, understanding mental health, the workplace, and the things that you can do, radical candor is all really, really good stuff. But then you need to take a piece of that and break it down into an action that you can take, because otherwise it's just a bunch of information. And if you put yourself into a place where it's like, I have to make this big dent, then that's probably also not going to happen, because systemic change takes time. Just does.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the supportive convo I had with Melissa Doman in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that episode, you are missing out.
You missed
out on a very fun conversation. She's one of those guests I had to bring back because I've been watching her be it till she sees it, and like her business and life just growing before our eyes. And it's really fun to have those guests back. So if you haven't listened to our episode from 103,
wow,
holy fuck, 300 episodes ago.
Yeah.
You should also listen to that one. But first, let's talk about today. Today is August 22nd, 2024, and it's Never Been Better Day. About this day, Never Been, B-E-A-N, Better Day is on August 22nd. It gives us the perfect opportunity to enjoy and spread some bean.
Wuv. W-U-V. Wuv.
Wuv. With our canine companions and others.
Do you wuv me?
Yeah, but what's the bean for?
I don't know yet.
By loving us unconditionally, to being our listening ears and cuddle buddies, our furry friends have always upheld their reputable position as woman's best friend, may I add, and are ever ready to be our lifelong companions. Registered therapy dogs like Bean.
Bean is the example dog for the day.
Okay. Share their love at hospitals, schools, reading programs, behavioral therapy, group sessions, domestic violence, homeless shelters, long-term care, Alzheimer's units, and anyone else in need of an emotional facelift. It's an interesting choice of words.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, Bill, I guess Bean.
I'm pretty sure this should be Never By Own Better Day.
I know. How does that work? Bean Day.
Bean is the name of the dog.
I
so
know.
It's Never By Own Better Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's never for? What?
Never been better. Never been better. Never been better is the play on words. We're changing it to never by. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now
well,
I'm explaining the joke.
Well, you know what, guys? Not every one of these days can make sense. So, you know.
Well, it's about emotional support dogs and dogs that go in hospitals and stuff like that. We're big fans of canines in general, as y'all know.
Oh, yeah. You know, you can get a dog that can tell if you need insulin, or it can tell if you need a different vitamin. Like you can train
or if you're
these
gonna have
dogs.
A seizure.
Yeah, you guys, there's so many of these dogs around now. And also there's so many different organizations that can help if you don't have the funds to access one of these dogs on your own. Like it's worth advocating for yourself and finding someone who's literally raising money to do this and give it to you. So, you know that if you have a friend in need. Okay. So
you got a friend in need.
In case you had it on your bingo card, Bean Day. I don't think you get much out of this. Keep singing while I do the upcoming events and travel. Okay, you guys. So Elevate applications.
Actually, today, the 22nd, we're in LA. We're heading to LA right now.
We're driving on our way to LA today.
We're driving to LA.
Yes, we're going. I'm working with my mentors for the weekend. It's actually like my little Pilates vacation for me after the tour.
Yeah.
So there was an opportunity to teach, and I said, thank you. I feel so seen, and I would like to be a student because I have just been teaching. So I'm going to do that. So I'm with my mentor, but what's really fun is that I can tell you about my mentorship program. And my mentorship program is for teachers, and it is a really fun program. I'm going into our 5th round next year, and you can still apply. And also Brad loaded up some awesome things you can get if you if you sign yourself up. So if you have questions about it, you'll actually get all those questions pretty much answered at lesleylogan.co/elevate. You can also take a fun class with us. You can hear from past Elevate members. And also you should know that when you do graduate, it's not over. I don't go, see ya. never want to see you again.
Wouldn't want to be ya.
You actually joined the alumni group and we do fun retreats together. So that's for you. That's Elevate. LesleyLogan.co/elevate. Cambodia retreat. Holy freaking moly. It's August. That means we are so close to going to Cambodia for fall, but you can't come to that one because it's sold out. But you can come to the February one.
6 months from now.
Yes,
Yeah,
6
there's
months.
still 6 months. Actually, it's literally the 23rd to the 28th of Feb. So 6 months and a day.
6 months and a
From
day.
now, we're going to be back in Cambodia. The time of recording this, there's still room to join us. So,
and you know what? It's not too late because really the best time to buy a flight is like 3 to 4 months before. So
That's right.
Truly, this is the best time to sign up and snag your spot. Go to crowsnestretreats.com. That is crows with a S and nest with an S in the middle and retreats with an S at the end. So the
thanks.
2 words are plural, one's not. There you go. It's a .com on that one. Try out OPC. You guys, do you know that OPC was made for you? I just did a really fun interview where someone was asking me about how does OPC help people ditch perfection and also prioritize themselves first and have some self-care. And I was like, oh, because you're not supposed to be perfect when you do Pilates. You're supposed to just be in practice. And we constantly remind you of that in every single class, while also providing tips and ways that you can get more depth and more out of an exercise. And then reminding you that if it's an exercise not right for you yet, you get to do something that is. And so even if you go to a studio already, did you know that you could also be an OPC member? That's right. You could go somewhere else and still do OPC with us on your other days.
Wait a minute. Are you saying 2 things can happen at the same time?
I am.
What?
I am. And so if you want to try us out, go to opc.me/40.
Yeah. And I have been kicking off another webinar here from Profitable Pilates, all about if you're feeling stuck with your money in your business, whether you're a super, super small business or you have a brick and mortar with a full team. If you're feeling stuck with your money, come join me for a free upcoming webinar called the Accelerator Program, Studio Business Growth Accelerator. Go to prfit.biz/accelerator. Get yourself signed up. It's totally free. prfit.biz/accelerator.
Profit without the O.
That's right. Profit without the O. Thanks for saying that.
Biz with an IZ.
There's a Z in there. That's right. BIZ.
Yeah. And accelerator is how you spell it. But, sometimes you forget how many C's are in there. So just keep that in mind.
There's 27 C's in there.
Shut up. All right. Before we get into it with Melissa Doman, what's our audience question to answer this week?
YouTube, Pilates with L said, Lesley, I am dead keen to do Elevate. I'm so interested in learning more about classical Pilates. I feel so amazing to finally feel like I'm getting it. How, I wonder, did Joe work with injured clients, especially when supine or loaded flexion was contraindicated? There's a lot of big words.
Yeah, and I like the dead keen. I think that
dead keen.
We should all say that.
Keen.
Why don't we say that in the States? I'm dead keen.
Keen, K-E-E-N.
It would just turn, and now the kids would just call it DK. I'm DK.
I'm DK.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. I love how in Elevate we actually get to explore how Joseph Pilates worked with contraindications inside the group just based on the people who come. Because
what is a contraindication?
Oh, like if you have a fusion in your back, then it is contraindicated to do flexion or it's a no-no. That's what you should say. It's a no-no. It's like if you take a medication, there's other medications that be like contraindicated. So like it's a no-no to do this with that. So for example, she is saying like supine or with loaded flexion. So let me just say, in Elevate, I don't go over like contraindication by contraindication unless asked, because that would take years. And that's like, there are specialties for that.
What if I have 28 teeth?
Okay.
Are there any Pilates things I can't do?
Nothing's contraindicated for
How
that.
27?
You can do all the exercises.
26?
All of them. Still can.
3.
Yeah, you might. Well, 3, you struggle with the towel exercise. I'm just going to be honest. You might need more than 3. Depends on where the 3 are. So just so you know, in Elevate with all the teachers, I do go over how Joseph Pilates thought about his work. That he shared and how he taught it to people. And that will include going over things that are contraindicated based on what you ask and also the people in the group. And then what's cool is when you graduate, we still talk about it. Someone just had someone come in who is actually paralyzed from the waist down. And so it's like, okay, what can I do with this person? Here's what I've done. Is there anything I'm missing? And so to answer your question, what did Joe do? Just like real quickly, he avoided the things you're not supposed to do. Just didn't do it. We don't have to fix people, you guys. And also for those who are not teachers, like your Pilates instructor should never tell you that they could fix you. And if they did, that's a red flag. What we are here to do is balance your imbalances. And when you balance your imbalances, what ends up happening is you have fewer aches and pains. Right now, as we record this, we're about to go to the chiropractor. My left hip is out of alignment. I can tell you that right now. And so I am feeling, because I fell, I'm feeling aches and pains in my body. So when I move, there are just some limitations that I have. If I were to go see Joe, he's not gonna be like, oh, let me work on this left hip of yours. No, that's out of our scope. We're not PT unless you are. So what he would instead do is work on the imbalances. And what is really cool is I did Pilates today with this out of line with my hip, and I had way less pain throughout the day today than I did yesterday when I had my fall. Here's the deal. It's not that Pilates put me completely back together, but it balanced some imbalances that were causing that issue. And so that's our goal. And that's what Joe Supplies would do. And eventually over time, some of those aches, pains, injuries just go away. Sometimes you need extra help and you have other things. Pilates is not magic, but Joe Supplies would not zero in on your little issue on your right pinky toe and like work it to death. He would work everything else.
Do you believe it's magic?
Yeah. And then also, you guys, I help you have the confidence to do that with your clients. I give you, like, the goal of Elevate is to help you see someone's imbalances, see someone's ache and pain, and actually trust the process and choose the right exercises for them. So that's what we do at Elevate. So if you're keen on that, you should sign up. But the rest of you,
if
you're dead keen.
That's right.
And for the rest of you, like, seriously, when it comes to Pilates, make sure your teacher is not like micromanaging your right pinky toe. You've got other toes. So there's other parts of your body. You should be moving. We're about to do a YouTube video on this. And I'm like, there's no principles because you're just supposed to move. We have to be moving our bodies. That's if your Pilates class is not moving you enough, then you're in the wrong spot. So come to OPC. Okay, that was a bunch of shameless plugs.
If you have questions, contact us. Let us know your question and we will happily work it into the pod. Pleasantly surprised. Maybe you'll end up here. All right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Okay, now let's talk about Melissa Doman. She's an organizational psychologist, former clinical mental health therapist, and author of Yes, You Can Talk About Mental Health at Work, and Here's Why and How to Do It Really Well. Melissa specializes in teaching businesses, leaders, and individuals how to have realistic and constructive conversations about mental health, team dynamics, and communication in the workplace. She's also known for her open and approachable leadership style, drawing from her experience with challenging managers. She said, you have to be able to address people who are negatively affecting your mental health at work or being a bully. And this is interesting because I was just talking to about this with our agency members because there's a couple of people who've had clients who like don't want to pay the late cancellation and they're bullying them. Like you're not a considerate person if you're charging me for this late cancellation policy, like you're telling me late cancel. And I was like, no, they're a bully. They're actually the asshole. You're not the asshole. You told them the rules. They signed, they agreed to the rules, and now they're bullying you to not follow your own rules. And I said, you have to be comfortable.
AITA.
Yeah, they are the asshole. And Eliza Schlesinger says this all the time. I've repeated this before on the podcast. We have to be comfortable making people as uncomfortable as they are making us. You have to get comfortable making the person uncomfortable, right? So you don't have to make this person uncomfortable at work, but you have to address this person is making my work experience negative and it's affecting my mental health and my ability to do my job. And when we try to bottle it up and we keep it to ourselves, it doesn't get better. And by the way, your work is probably the one that's going to suffer. And then all of a sudden you're going to get in trouble for suffered work and be like, this person's been bullying me. That's too late. Now it's too late to say that. You should have said that before.
Yeah, she actually has a phrase. You'll have to go back and listen to her episode to actually get that phrase.
Oh, she did.
However, the high level overview of it was to pull them aside and say, hey, I just need you to know how this is affecting me. You know, how what you're doing and how you're doing is affecting me. She said this is really direct and pretty challenging. I acknowledge that, but sometimes it's necessary. It's needed. And it's going to help you stand up for yourself. You're going to feel better about yourself, the whole thing.
Yeah. So we have a transcript so you can actually like copy paste and like memorize that to have those conversations. But y'all, if you are working around someone who's affecting your mental health at work, you actually do have the right to say that this is happening. And if you're not feeling heard or supported by your superiors, then like, don't let people tell you that there's no good jobs out there. I have a client who like constantly says like how much she hates her job. And she's like, well, I'm not going to leave because economy is bad. You guys, there are so many jobs out there and employers are doing everything they can to keep the employees they have. You need to know this. Like they're like really like what other benefits can we throw at people so they stay in this job? So just trust that you are actually worth what you do. And there are people that need you out there and there's awesome things and you don't have to put up with it. We have a girlfriend who was absolutely being abused by her team at work. And when she finally said something, she waited a long time. So when she finally said something, then they said, oh, well, she did this to me. And then nothing got solved. You gotta, like, it sounds stupid, but you gotta say things when they first happen because it doesn't get easier. It doesn't get better.
Right.
And then by the time you feel like, oh my God, I'm at the end of my rope, I'm going to say something. It's almost like there's nothing that they can actually do that's going to make it better.
Yeah.
So stand up for yourself.
Yeah. And also, some companies have an HR team. You can also talk to them.
Yeah.
In this case, she's talking about directly with radical candor approaching the person who's affecting you. And she said it also like her example in the episode wasn't necessarily about someone who's abusing you, but someone who says they're going to do something and is late, someone who doesn't actually finish the job or is passing their work off onto you or something like that.
Yeah. All that is not fun for your mental health either.
Right.
Yeah.
It is not.
And by the way, Radical Candor is a book. You should read it. It's really good.
Yeah. Okay. So I really enjoyed what she was talking about, asking for help. It's good to ask for help. She said, it doesn't matter how much of a badass you are trying to be. Everybody needs support. And this is a really difficult thing for small business owners and myself included. Definitely understand this. The way that I was raised is it's a do-it-yourself world and you can do it all and you should do it all because you have no money. Can't pay someone to do it for you anyway. So you should just figure it all out on your own. And so I took that approach from childhood all the way into everything that I ever did, from music into running companies. And at the end of the day, it just eats more of your time and you don't ultimately have enough capacity to do all the things that need to happen. And you end up being a bottleneck. So it doesn't matter how much of a badass you're trying to be, everybody needs support. In her case, she said her husband very directly challenged her and said, okay, you no longer have the option to do all this stuff because it's now affecting me and you have to have help. So we're going to find you an executive assistant who can support you. At first, she was really reticent to pass things over, to relinquish control. But now she's like, how do I get this off my plate? Right? It's completely changed her approach to everything because she's starting to see how, well, maybe smoother things can run for her company. It was one of the things that changed our business dramatically was when I realized that years in, I was still being the bottleneck. And then from there, when we shifted that, when I started to try to get out of these things that I had taken away from everybody else and was still doing, it actually allowed things to flow much more smoothly. So, yeah, it's a little bit counterintuitive at first, but it's also ego, oh, I'm the only one that can do this part of it, whatever.
I've mentioned this on the pod. I mean, we have had 400 episodes. Of course, I mentioned it, but like, if you watch the end of My Cousin Vinny, when he finds out that Marissa Tomei's character called in the judge from New York to like verify and validate the type of lawyer that he was in, his first case. And he got so mad at her. He's like, I wanted to win my case by myself. I wanted to win my first case by myself. And she's like, what if you won all of your cases? All of your cases. And at the end, you had to say, thank you. Oh my God, what a nightmare. And so that was just a really interesting thing that like, whenever we're trying to do something ourselves and you like actually ask for help, people are not going to go, oh my God, LL asked for help. They're going to remember wow, it was so fun to be on LL's team to create this thing. I got to be part of this creation. And then she said, thank you. Like it's like, these are amazing, amazing things. And so we have to just remember that asking for help is not actually about you. It's about sharing. And it's actually about taking other people and saying, hi, I see you as someone who can do this thing that I really want to do. And I want to show my team. And it's actually really fucking cool. Anyways.
Yeah. Stick around. We're going to cover those be it action items next. So let's talk about those be it action items. What are the bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items that we could take away from your convo with Melissa Doman? All right. She said, hey, people take things the wrong way, which is why it is so important to be super clear in your communication. We all interpret things based on our own experiences usually. And so it's possible that someone said something to you, didn't know that they were touching a nerve, or vice versa, that you were maybe triggering something in them. She said, before you're having a conversation with someone, usually about how they're affecting your mental health, she said it's important to self-reflect and ask, what is it that I didn't like about this situation? She said that people can't read minds, obviously. So that's why clear communication is so necessary. Explain what's going on for you in this scenario. State what you want the others to do or not do with the information. Hey, now that I'm telling you this information, what would be really helpful for me is X, or it would really change things if you did X, right? Then highlight why you're bringing it up to them, deciding the most important things to tell them so they don't get lost in the detail. So just go high level, right? They don't need a 10-year backstory. You could probably just say, this is really affecting me because of some past history that I had, and just leave it at that. And then go on to explain what it is that they're doing, and then how it's affecting you and what you would like them to do instead. And she said, just avoid overcomplicating the conversation. She was sharing a story about her challenging the head of HR. She was brought in for a consulting job, and it was a short-term gig. I don't know, maybe she was with this company for a few months or whatever. And everyone was treating her like an outsider in a really negative way. And she was working for the HR team. And she ended up finally challenging the head of HR. Yeah. And saying, hey, do you see what you're doing here? This is super uncool. And I don't like it. And it's not fair to me. And I know I'm not part of the team the way that you guys are, but I'm still here to do a job. And this is what's coming across. So she said, that's really hard to do. She's willing to be challenging that way because she's taught herself how to do it over time.
Yeah.
So
I love how she laid this out, because you could be either party in this scenario. But truly, like I had someone come up to me and tell me something, but would give me zero specifics, none.
Right.
So not even high level, just generics about how we made her feel. And I said, okay, can you give me an example? I don't want to get into it. Okay, well, how would you like me to solve this problem? I don't know. And it's like, so here's the thing. There are assholes out there, but most people are not assholes, and they don't want you to feel bad at work. They don't want to be negatively impacting you. So I love this example because she actually says what to say, explain what's going on for you, and state what you want others to do or not do.
Yeah.
And then that way they can actually go, okay, let me think, how do we make this work? Here's how we can do this. I appreciate, people are not mind readers, nor can they also, if the thing that they were doing with no negative intention caused negative impact, you then want them to create another thing that could maybe, it's important to kind of know, and that requires all of us to have a little bit more self-awareness and to go inward, because again, there are dicks out there, but not everyone is walking around wanting to trigger people or wanting to activate something in people. Most people want you to be the best version of yourself that's out there.
Yeah. Well, what about you?
So she said, when it comes to mental health at work, awareness is great. Action is better.
Awareness is great. Action is better.
And you know what? We actually talked about that with Kareen's thing. She's like, manifestation is great, but you got to take action on it. So action. It's in our intro of the episode. So she talked about it's one thing to have the intention to do it, but it's another thing to create the impact. And she also stressed that you might not be able to make a big dent, but any dent is helpful. So what does this all mean? It means learning, listening, understanding mental health, the workplace, and the things that you can do. Radical candor is all really, really good stuff. But then you need to take a piece of that and break it down into an action that you can take, because otherwise it's just a bunch of information. And if you put yourself into a place where it's I have to make this big dent, then that's probably also not going to happen, because systemic change takes time. Just does. So if you have a business or you're working at a company and there's been something that's going on for a really long time, like just because they're made aware doesn't mean that's just gonna be a thing that happens. So we've got to really do what we can to make the dents we need to, because over time, a dent can get bigger and bigger and bigger if we just keep working at it. So I really like that, because it's one thing for you to listen to this and be inspired by it, but taking action is always going to be better.
Action brings clarity.
And it's the antidote to fear, you guys. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode today. You know what action you can take after becoming aware?
Yeah.
You could share this episode with a friend.
We're gonna ask you what action to take right now.
Right now, you're not having to guess. You have to wonder. We're going to tell you exactly what would make this better. What would make this relationship better between you and me would be if you share this with a friend.
That's right.
Share this. You could text it to them. You could grab their phone and look for it for them. There's so many different ways you can listen to this episode. It could be on the OPC app. It could be on Apple, Spotify, you name it. We're on all these things. You could text it to them every single day. You could do that. You want to know what? I get texts every single day from campaigns. So they clearly have no shame. You shouldn't either. All right, loves. Until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Doman for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.